Hey everybody, this is Kevin from Candlebox, and you are listening to Shutter 16 Magazine.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How's everybody in the band and crew? Everybody healthy and okay?
We're all good. We're vaccinated, and we were able to come out of the first 2-week run unscathed, so fingers crossed it continues.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it then and talk about Wolves. I want to ask you about the title, because I did read your quote, how you were talking about pack mentality versus the lone wolf thing, and it really does apply today. So can you tell me a little bit of how you came up with the title and what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of had a politically charged attitude towards life and, the United States, and how we kind of do things backwards here sometimes. And in the past 5 years, really, certainly when I was writing for this record, the last administration was something that I had never seen in my entire life. My father was a staunch Republican until Ronald Reagan was elected and then became a Democrat, which I've never forgotten. My father had served in World War II, stormed Omaha Beach, so it was kind of strange to see him make that switch that rapidly. But so I guess my political opinions come from my dad and how I was raised. So the last administration, what I was seeing and feeling and watching happen and understanding what was happening really kind of scared me, and it still does. I mean, I really feel like as a society we have become these injured, starving beasts, and wolves are very scary when they're like that, but at the same time they're incredibly beautiful creatures when they work together in a pack. So I guess what I'm hoping for is that somehow this pack mentality finds its way back into our world, into society, and we start taking care of one another and feeding one another the way we're supposed to. But it does seem like the last administration certainly it changed and charged this kind of lone wolf mentality that we're all seeing.
Sure, absolutely. Now, you did mention, 5 years, and that's been that long since the last album. So tell us a little about how the writing on this album went, how this came together. Was it affected at all by the last year's, shutdowns, or had you been working on it for years?
We actually started writing this in 2018, and then recorded it in August of 2019, and then I finished the vocals. I finished the vocals last year, so it's been a little bit of a strange trip for us because we've been sitting with this record for so long. And kind of been able to really absorb what it is that we've written and recorded, but at the same time, when we were writing it, there was so much kind of going on in the world that charged it, and that allowed us to, or that influenced what we were writing about, rather. And so the record is autobiographical on certain songs, and it is wishful and negative in others, and there's all sorts of kind of ins and outs attached to these songs of emotion and what we were kind of feeling. So as a band, whatever we felt we were writing, and if we felt that it was something that we wanted to put on the record, we put it on. We didn't stop ourselves. We just kind of went with it. And I think the nice thing about that is there's freedom from the label that we're signed to, Pavement Records, for us to do that. But the freedom that we felt ourselves to be able to write songs like that together was something that we hadn't experienced for quite some time. Certainly wasn't the same with Disappearing Airports. Disappearing Airports was mainly myself and Adam, the bass player, or myself and Mike Leslie writing those songs. And in this one, it was a collective effort between everybody.
Nice. Now, it's a great album. I really enjoyed it, and there's a little bit of everything in there for your listeners. Now, you've been featuring some co-writing credits on this album. So you've got some great people that you've worked with outside of the band as well, with Peter Cornell and Christopher Thorne. Did you go into this saying, hey, I think I want to work with these guys, or did you have the song and kind of bring them in to help finish, or how did those collaborations kind of come about?
No, I went in thinking that I wanted to work with them. I had actually talked to Pete Cornell about writing together when we were in Seattle playing the reunion shows. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Pete, Barney, Scott, and myself got together and played the 25th anniversary shows of the debut album in Seattle. And Pete came, he's married to my manager, Amy. And he and I had been friends for a long, long time, but just hadn't seen one another for about 18 years. So I was like, man, I would really love to have a song on my new record from you. I've been a fan for a long time, and I love your songwriting style. And so he sent me this track that he had written on acoustic. He asked me what I was looking for. I said I wanted something that was a kind of a classic blues, Robert Johnson sort of rock and roll song, sitting on a tree stump at the crossroads sort of thing. And that's what he sent me on acoustic, and I fell in love with it. I guess it was mainly pre-production for the record when we started really working that song out, is that it came to where it is now, which I just love. I love that song so much. And then Christopher Thorne from Blind Melon has been a friend of mine for the past 25 years, and he and I have always talked about writing together, but never got around to doing it. So I called him up and said, listen, I'm getting ready to write for the record, and I'd love to come visit your studio out in Joshua Tree. He said, I've got next week, Thursday and Friday available. Would you like to come in? I said, yeah. Went out there and wrote 2 songs. So, I mean, I guess, if you're on that path of knowing that that's what you want to do, it makes it easy to accomplish that sort of songwriting.
Sure. Now, you've been doing this since the early 90s, and obviously you as a person have changed, and so your writing has also kind of changed over the years as you grow and develop. How would you say is the main differences between the Self-Titled debut and now? Is it just the freedom, do you feel, to express yourself?
Oh, it's probably more about I just, I've grown as a musician, and I've grown as a person, obviously. I know more about myself now than I certainly did when I was a 22-year-old writing for the first album. The saying, if I knew then what I know now. So, but I think that's the main thing. And also, going through the breakup of a major label, and having, thinking that your dream is over, and then you find an indie that says, no, man, we'll continue your dream for you. I mean, that's really the beauty of it. And allowing yourself to be that free as a musician, is very rewarding.
Now, do you think it's difficult at all, or has it been difficult at all for you to continue that growth, but still, stay true to Candlebox and the fan base that you've created over the years?
Staying true to Candlebox. I mean, I don't think it's always kind of been a band. Candlebox has always been a band that's just kind of push themselves every single record. So I guess, outside of doing an electronic dance album, I'd probably, stay true to what we do. I think it really has to do with, I don't think our fans care who's playing it. They just want to hear the songs. I don't think they know what anybody in the band looks like. And that's not to, I'm not being a jerk about it. I just think we've always been a sum of the whole rather than its parts, and I think that's what people love about Candlebox. And of course there's that 1% that's like, I know Pete's not playing with you right now, or I know Scott's not on drums, but that's rare and doesn't really reflect upon who we are as a band. We've always pushed ourselves musically. I've always been the singer. I've always been the lyricist. And I've always been the melody writer. So maybe that's what keeps this consistency, if you will, of the sound, is that I'm just kind of still in the band, if you will.
Right. Now, you had mentioned that you did a 2-week run of dates, and that went well. What was it like to finally get back out on the road?
Bizarre.
I imagine.
It's really strange. I mean, I'd call my wife after every show. She said, "How was it?" I was like, "It's just so weird. I mean, it's such a different life, and people are either taking it seriously or they're not, So it's it's strange. It's really an odd thing to be out there playing shows for people without masks and thinking to yourself, what are you doing? You're really putting yourself in a bad position here and in an unsafe position. And because I'm vaccinated, you know, that's like, so, and that's not going to keep me from getting, you know, COVID. It's just going to keep me from getting deathly ill.
Right.
And that's the thing that we're trying to kind of get across to people, you know, as musicians, all of us as musicians, you know, saying, listen, we understand that that you want to live your life a certain way, but you know, we're all trying to survive, and you're trying to survive, and you know, maybe you got your government stipend until September, but we didn't because we're self-employed, so we haven't been able to work for the past 18 years, or 18 months rather, and we can't go on tour if people continue to get sick, you know, and that's been the strangest thing is that there's 50% of that audience out there that just thinks we're crazy for walking around on stage with a mask. You know, it's bizarre.
Have you noticed a difference from city to city and state to state?
No, I mean, you know, the Midwest is, well, I can only speak for the Midwest because that's kind of where I really was. But,
okay.
But when we got to Montana, we played a show up there. It's like, it's almost as if, you know, COVID didn't exist. No one was wearing masks. Everywhere we went, there was no sign on any door that said masks recommended, except for the airport. That, you know, that's really been the only consistency across the country is just travel via airline.
Now, I see that you've got some festivals on the dates too, like Rocklahoma is coming up in September. Is that a concern for you with, you know, the amount of people and a big production like that? And
well, we're just keeping our distance. Yeah, our crew guys know that, you know, they're wearing masks, they're handling our gear, nobody else touches our gear. We don't go and do meet and greets, we don't do VIPs. We walk out on stage with our own microphones. We play our show and we go straight back to the bus, which is, you know, going to suck these festivals because we love standing around watching our friends play. You know, a lot of these bands we're playing with, we've been friends with for 20 plus years, and you know, some of them aren't vaccinated, and some of them are. So I was just with Zach and from Shinedown. He's a really, really good friend of mine. We had rehearsals in Nashville, and he's not vaccinated, and neither is his drummer, and his drummer is, but then Barry contracted COVID and couldn't play for the first 2 weeks with Shinedown, and Zach's not vaccinated because his wife wants to have another child, and she's afraid of the vaccine, and I'm just like, man, this is just, what are we doing? This is just bizarre, you know?
Yeah.
Just bizarre.
Definitely a different world out there right now than what everybody's used to. Now, getting back to the live show, I know that when you go out to play, everybody wants to hear you and Far Behind, but I'm hoping that there's going to be plenty of room in the set list for a bunch of these new songs. Are we including a lot from Wolves?
Yes, five songs from Wolves, which the fans aren't really happy about. I got an email from a guy the other day in which guy's like, hopefully you're not playing, you know, anything but your debut album for other people. That, you know, yuck is what he wrote. Maybe focus on the debut. And I was like, wow, all right, cool. Then don't come to the show. I mean, I don't know what people think. It's like they're just going to come and hear the debut album. That's crazy talk, you know. It's just not the way it is. It's not going to happen. So.
Yeah, well, this is a great album that's coming out, and you know, I think it's one of your best ever. I just enjoyed every track on it, so I hope that people give it a good chance and listen to it, and not just be like, wow, we just want to hear these 3 songs, and you know, we're out of here. And so I'm going to take a second and put in a shameless plug for Trip, because I just love that one.
Oh, thank you. I love that song as well. Thank you so much. And I mean, it's, you know, that's the thing that I love about Candlebox, and it is that we can write a song like that, and somebody will say, "I love that song." You know, that's what I love, and thank you for that, because I think that's a great song as well, and you're right, it is such a different record for us, and I think if people give it a chance, they'll find that in the album for themselves. They'll find that song that makes them, you know, think, wow, Candlebox really just continues to deliver great songs and great music, and you know, we're not ashamed of what we do. We embrace it, and we do it to the best of our ability.
Well, I agree. This is a great album. I hope that everybody gives it a chance when it does come out because, like I said, I think it's one of your best albums ever. I don't think there's a weak song on the record. I enjoyed listening to all of it. And, you know, if people go in with, you know, preconceived notions, it's not good. You know, they're losing out. They're the ones that are losing out on hearing some great stuff. So I hope that they give it a chance, and I hope that they don't send you any more nasty emails about only playing the debut album, because that would disappoint me. Because I want to hear a lot of tracks off this new one when you guys roll through Charlotte next month.
You got it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking the time to fill us in with everything. We look forward to when the new album drops so everybody can hear it, as well as seeing you hopefully when you roll through Charlotte next month.
Thank you so much.